Hello, everyone. Namaste. This is me, Prem from the United States. In the midst of the global pandemic situation, I hope everyone is doing well, staying safe wherever you are. And today I am here to share something about Nepal. After kind of a gap on the television screen, I'm here with a special guest. His name is Scott DeLisi, who was the ambassador in Nepal from the United States of the America, and he also served as an ambassador to Uganda and Eritrea. As a foreign service official from the United States of America, he also served in India, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka, as well as various postings in Washington, D.C. Moreover, he is a social worker in Nepal for Nepal. He is the executive director at Engage Nepal, a non-governmental organization in Nepal. The name is Engage Nepal, institution's name. Ambassador DeLisi is with me today. I'm so glad to have you here in the same screen, Ambassador DeLisi. Welcome to the conversation.
Thank you. It's nice to be with you, Premji.
Thank you so much. In this trying time, I hope you and your family are doing well.
You know, we're all doing well, but we are being very, very careful because I think we all have to be. And we have to recognize that this pandemic poses a real risk to everyone, but especially those of us who are of a certain age probably need to be even more careful. And so, yes, we are taking great care, but that doesn't mean we don't stay engaged and active.
Thank you very much. So first, I would like to begin this conversation to comparing the situation about the global pandemic in Nepal and the United States. What are your experiences in Nepal? Nepal has been doing very long lockdown, and then United States being differently facing this problem. So what's your experiences in this situation?
You know, well, my experience of it is, of course, driven by what I've experienced here in the United States. But yes, I've been following events in Nepal as well. Here in the United States, we have not done as good of a job of managing this as we could have. I mean, that's self-evident to anyone who's been following events. And when you look at the success that some countries have had, countries like Australia and New Zealand, like South Korea, there are several others who have really done a very good job of managing the disease, managing the number of new infections, managing deaths. And we have not done that. And a lot of it is about leadership. We were slow to begin. We have been at times ineffective in our response. And in a large country like ours, each state has to make their own decisions, and I recognize that, but we also have a need for a national level vision and for guidance and real effective messaging, and we failed on most of those counts. And when I look at Nepal, I certainly see that they made the effort to lock down the country, to keep people in their homes, to ban flights in, to keep people out, all of these things. And those are steps that can help. There's no question about it. But it also needs to be accompanied, it seems to me, by that effective education and messaging and using that time to prepare for the crisis that you see coming. And we all know that the crisis is coming. And you can't be locked down forever, as we're seeing in the United States as well. And to ease the lockdown, we started to see the surge begin. Yeah, on May 1st, there were 57 cases in Nepal. Mm-hmm. Yeah, on March 11th, there were 1,000 cases in the U.S. In the U.S., 3 months later, were over 2 million cases. In Nepal, in 7 weeks, 7 weeks, you've gone from 57 cases to almost 8,000. We see what is coming. And again, it becomes so critical to build a national consensus, to have effective messaging. And I can't speak to exactly what's going on in Nepal because I'm not there and I'm not following it on a day-to-day basis. But I would say that I would hope that there is that effective messaging. I would hope that there is that strong leadership. I have seen many people voice concern that there is not. I leave it for others to judge. I would finally say, though, that recognizing these challenges, just as we see the challenges in the US, it is even more critical in Nepal, because in Nepal, the medical infrastructure, as we all know, is not prepared to cope with this. At least in the US, we have a highly developed medical infrastructure that at times is overwhelmed too in any given state at any given moment.
That's right.
But overall, we were better prepared. We had the resources to manage this. In Nepal, if you've only got one ventilator for 115,000 people, you've got a real problem.
Yes.
If you don't have hospital beds, skilled workers, PPE, you know that this is only going to go from bad to worse. So it's very troubling. And just as I'm troubled about where we're still going in the US, I'm equally troubled about, as a friend of Nepal, I'm troubled about what I fear is going to happen there next.
So the question here is, like, Nepal has been doing very long lockdown, and the government of Nepal has been thinking that lockdown is a solution for the coronavirus pandemic to face these challenges. But in the United States, like, there are slightly different situation. They were prepared to do the precautions and all those things, but Nepal government has been doing just a lockdown. So what do you think about
a
that
lockdown by itself is never going to solve the problem. Even in the US, the lockdown wasn't meant to make the virus go away. You aren't going to make the virus just disappear. But the lockdown was intended to ensure that we didn't get so many cases all at once that we totally overwhelmed our medical systems. So the goal was to flatten the curve, right? Reduce the total number of cases, but also make it easier to manage this, spread it out over time so we could better cope with it, and hopefully reduce the number of overall infections. And we succeeded to a point, but as soon as you end the lockdown, if you have not prepared, if you do not have discipline within the society, if people aren't prepared as a community to take the necessary steps to build upon the time that the lockdown bought you, you've accomplished really nothing other than delay to the inevitable. And just as we did not, I think we did many good things in the time that we had while we were locked down, while we were trying to flatten the curve, social distancing in the US. A month ago, we saw a number of states that were rushing to reopen. And there were many people who said they reopened prematurely. You are in one of those states.
Yes.
And those states that opened prematurely today, a month later, are amongst those that are surging in the number of cases, that are seeing their highest number of cases, new infections per day ever, that are seeing the number of hospitalizations increase, and this is what happens if we don't prepare. So in Nepal, yeah, they locked down for a long, long time. The question that I would pose to you, or for those who understand the situation there at firsthand, is whether or not over those, what was it, 8 weeks, 10, 12 weeks, that the country was locked down, were there steps taken to adequately prepare for what you would do when you opened up? Was there an effort made to educate the population that we need to wear masks, we need to protect ourselves? Did we identify who are the most vulnerable in society and how do we protect them as we reopen? All of this is critical, and I'm not sure it's all being done. I'm working with a partner, for example, that has partnered with Timi Municipality in the Kathmandu Valley to do a model program for how to address issues of surveillance, of protecting the most vulnerable, about doing testing, of knowing who to target the testing on, how to protect the healthcare workers, training them in effective use of PPE, all of these things. And I think in this one municipality, we've created what looks to me to be a good model program. I'm not an expert on coronavirus or much of anything else. But like everyone else, I've been following events. And this program that we've had in Timi municipality, I'm very pleased with the effort that is being made, the partnerships that we see. And these are the sorts of models that I hope will be replicated elsewhere in Nepal.
Thank you for your perspective on it. So let's move on next topic.